Hi everybody, today we're going to do 5 simple techniques on how to improve your cafetiere coffee. A lot of people think that all you need to do is just get some coffee, throw in some hot water, plunge the plunger and pour out the coffee. Well, of course you can do that, but we can improve, we can do so much better than that. So without further ado, here are 5 top tips in how to get a better coffee. Okay, let's get into it.
Okay, tip number 1, we're going to heat the cafetiere and the cup so that everything that comes in contact with the coffee is as hot as it possibly can be. The type of coffee you use in your cafetiere is down to personal preference, but use the freshest coffee you can do, preferably from beans ground to a cafetiere grind, or a pre-ground cafetiere coffee, but make sure it's fresh. Tip number 2, we're going to weigh out the coffee so that you get the right amount of coffee for the size of cafetiere that you're going to use. And as a rough rule of thumb, you should use about 60 grams of coffee for 1 litre of water. Now here I'm using an 8-cup cafetiere which roughly holds half a litre of water, so I'm going to aim to put in 30 grams of coffee. Well, what happens if you don't have a pair of scales at hand? Well, don't worry, you can use a dessert spoon, or any spoon so long as you know how much coffee it's going to portion out. Here I'm using a dessert spoon, and each dessert spoon roughly puts in 10 grams, 12 grams or so of coffee at a time. So 3 scoops is roughly 30 grams, which is about the right amount of coffee for this size cafetiere. Tip number 3. Use soft water if you can. If you're living in a hard water area, use a filter. And when you pour the hot water into your cafetiere, make sure that the water is just off the boil. Once you've added the water, this is tip number 4. Give it a small stir and then leave it for approximately 4 minutes. Don't do anything to it, just leave it. Tip number 5. Once you've left it for at least 4 minutes, 5 minutes would be great, 6 minutes maybe even better, but 4 minutes at least, then you can slowly plunge the plunger of the cafetiere. But be careful, if the little gauze at the bottom of your cafetiere plunger isn't absolutely perfect, then don't plunge it all the way down, just plunge it a little bit so that it's below the surface and pour the coffee through the gauze there. If you plunge it with an imperfect gauze, you just find that all the coffee granules come up through the gaps around the gauze and you'll get loads of bits in your coffee. So make sure your gauze is in a good state of repair, and if it's not, don't be tempted to plunge it all the way down to the bottom. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed the video. They're my 5 quick tips on how to make a better cafetiere coffee. Feel free to leave any comments in the section below. You may have some tips yourself that you can improve on these quick fire tips, and it's a community, so if you've got some good tips as well that you want to share, then feel free to put them below. Thank you. Thanks for watching.